you're serving both a broadcast community and an online community. When you do your show, do you try to reach out to both communities, or are you focused more on the broadcast aspect of the station?
Well, I would agree with Thurston that number one is doing good radio, and you can then, do good jazz. I mean, incredible music like John Coltrane and everybody else, and George Coleman. But you have to have your radio fundamentals squared away to do that. Yes, we've got a great stream audience. We can track our stream to France. We can track it to Guatemala, Honduras, California, all sorts of locations. But the number one and the people who are really going to support a public radio station are the local listeners. They're the ones who get the traffic conditions, when it's messed up on I-94, US 23, 275, they're the ones who are going to get what's going on in Ann Arbor City Council, Ann Arbor Public Schools, the growth in Ann Arbor, and it is impressive. And of course, then a reflection on the city of Detroit. They are going to support us, and they're going to support us because we also support local musicians. We'll talk about what's happening in Detroit, Ann Arbor locally, and the fans of those musicians are going to support us. So number one, even though we stream, number one is our local service.
Willard, you're based in the D.C. area. What do you do to establish that connection with your local audience?
Well, first and foremost, I have to say that we're all serving both a terrestrial audience and a streaming audience. So there's no real separation between us in that respect. We're all serving. All of our stations are streaming. In the case of the radio station that I'm with, which is WPFW in Washington, it's a bit of a different animal than WBGO and Linda's station. Linda and I actually started at the same place. Yeah. I started where Linda once was, I should say. Right. And that was at good old WKSU at historic Kent State University. So I have been on the NPR-style public radio format before, but since I moved to Minneapolis in the mid-'80s and now D.C. in the late '80s, I've been at two successive public radio stations, but public radio stations that are of a different sort, a different ilk. They are a subset of public radio stations known as community radio stations. Mm-hmm. And in the case of WPFW, WPFW is staunchly a member of the Pacifica Network. And if you know anything about Pacifica, you know that Pacifica does not take any corporate underwriting or anything of that nature. Pacifica is supported solely by its listeners. That is to my mind, that's a tired old model, but I'm in a minority in that respect. And unfortunately, it's going to take a whole lot of struggle to get Pacifica to turn in the area of what I refer to as socially responsible underwriting. There are socially responsible underwriters. I saw that when I was at WWOZ, another community radio station in New Orleans for a period of time. But in answer to your question, we serve the D.C. metro area. And we serve the D.C. metro area. We are all volunteer radio. So we serve it with respect to the fact that we have over 100 volunteers who come from the D.C. metro community. And so our volunteers are very sensitive to the needs of the Washington, D.C. market. And from a jazz perspective, our station has over 100 hours of jazz radio per week. And we refer to ourselves as Jazz and Justice Radio, because if you know Pacifica, you know the Pacifica is all about left side politics. And so that perspective is very much in play. But we serve our community by being responsive to the artists in our community, and by being responsive to jazz activities in our community. And that is one of our foremost missions.